It's time for another one-off rebuild here on the channel. Today, we're going to be taking over at legendary club West Ham, who currently find themselves in a relegation battle under David Moyes, and they're just not doing great at all compared to the last few seasons where they were flying. So today, we're going to give ourselves 5 years to try and repair West Ham and not only keep them up, but also hopefully push for some trophies, some silverware, and maybe even some European Champions League football. Let's see what we can do. So here we are at West Ham United, obviously a legendary club as mentioned, with plenty of legendary players in their past. Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst to name a few, Mark Noble if you're going for recent years, who actually, by the way, is our director of football here at West Ham. I didn't know that before doing this rebuild, but he is. But anyway, yes, our job here with West Ham over 5 years will be to focus purely on the transfer front and try and change this team around, try and change their fortunes and get them out of a relegation battle. And hopefully we can take this West Ham side to glory, have them competing in cup finals, European competitions, getting into the top 6 of the Premier League. That is going to be our aim with West Ham here, who obviously have a very, very rich history. They've got FA Cups under their belt, even a European Cup Winners' Cup, but that is a far cry from where the club is at right now. Obviously, we have a huge stadium in the London Stadium. Facilities overall are decent, but maybe not amazing. We are in the Conference League this year as well, but there is work to be done. Before we go and check out our squad, I'd like to ask you guys if you could smash that like button for me. It would really help with the video's performance and helps the channel grow, which is great. We're getting close to 16,000 subscribers at the time of recording, so hit that button if you like these kind of rebuilds. And if we're already at 16,000 when you're watching this, then still hit that subscribe button anyway. I'd massively, massively appreciate it. But most importantly, let me know in the comments down below which rebuild you'd like to see next. But let's get back to West Ham and take a look at the squad. The squad does have some decent players in it, of course, the main one being club captain Declan Rice, who is by far our best player and also our most valuable. But we do have Zuma, Bowen, Souček and Paqueta as some of the more talented players at the club. And when it comes to potential, obviously Declan Rice is up there. But outside of that, there's not too many good young heads that we've got coming through that are really going to change our fortunes over the next few years. Obviously, Scamacca is someone that we're expecting a lot from. The young Italian striker is at the point right now where you're hoping that he can contribute to our first team after a good season out in the Serie A for Sassuolo. Big money paid by West Ham. Can he be the striker to lead us to glory? We will see. We've also got Bowen, who's got potential, Paqueta, but no real phenomenal stars that are going to take this side all the way up to Champions League glory or anything like that, so we need to change that around. There's also a fair bit of deadwood in this squad, I would say, considering where we want to be. There's a lot of players that I would associate with relegation battles in this team that maybe we need to move on from, so there will need to be some work done in the transfer market, but let's see what the board want from us. We have £43 million in the bank with £13 million in the transfer budget. The club are looking for us to play attacking football, to sign players under the age of 22, don't sign anyone over the age of 30, and develop players using the club's youth system whilst also qualifying for the Europa League in the Premier League. So they do want quite a lot from us in that sense. Obviously, they're in a relegation battle in real life, but we are predicted to finish 10th in the table based on the quality in the squad, and we're going to try and make that a reality in Season 1. The staff situation needs a little bit of work also. It's not the best, and for those wondering who've asked in previous videos why I have the in-game editor on, we don't use it for anything other than this. Let me show you. If you go to the home screen, we tick this button here, become unsackable, when we start a rebuild. That way, we get 5 seasons, no matter what, we can rebuild the club, and it stops this video being 5 minutes long. We get sacked in Season 1 and don't get to do anything. It's the only reason we have it on. We never really need it anyway usually, but that's the only reason we use the editor for. For those people who think I use it to help with the rebuilds in the other videos, if we did, we'd have a lot more success than we do. I mean, for God's sake, it took me 4 years, I think, in the Benfica rebuild to win the first division in Portugal, which is something they should do anyway. If I was using the editor, we would have had a lot more success than that. But just for those people who will ask, that's why we've got the editor on here in Football Manager. But of course, we are only going to be focused here on the transfers this season. But for Season 1, we're going to leave things as they are and hopefully see how this team can get on to assess what we need to do next season. So we'll pick the tactic and then we'll see how we can do in our first year. Here's the tactic that we've gone for. We've gone for a 4-3-3 vertical tiki-taka preset that the game game has provided, and this is what we're going to try and build throughout this rebuild. Obviously, we might change it as time goes on, but I think it could suit our team very well. And in fact, in Season 1, it's done us pretty good because this is where we finished in 8th place, which is exceptional. But more importantly, straight away, we've won the Conference League. Now, I've done nothing here, so don't give me any of the credit yet. Technically, I've done nothing on the transfer front, so I've done nothing to rebuild the club, but apparently, we've gone all the way to winning the Conference League. We'll look at that in a second, but the FA Cup, we got knocked out in the 5th round, the Carabao Cup knocked out in the 3rd round, and the Premier League, we have finished in 8th place, but of course, winning the Conference League guarantees us that Europa League spot. We were actually quite a distance off finishing in 7th in any of the actual European places, so we'd like to improve that next season. We won the same amount of games as we lost, which isn't great, but the Conference League, yes, we did really well. We ended up beating Fiorentina 4-1 in the final. We beat a Portuguese side 8-2 in the semi-final. The quarter-final, we played Nice and won 6-2. It doesn't seem like we had the hardest run in the world to get here to the final, but we'll certainly take it. Skamaka doing a great job for us there, getting us a trophy. And as much as I want to say we've got one trophy on the board, I'm kind of not going to count that because I did nothing to help the team win this. But it's nice to have anyway. We have a Europa Conference League under our belt. We're the first English team to win the competition, and that is something that we can have in our history forever. But now let's get the transfers underway for Season 2. We're going to be in the Europa League. We've got multiple competitions to be involved with, and hopefully next year we can push into that top 7, top 6, whilst also giving the Europa League a fair crack. So let's see what we can do. We'll start off with the outgoings that we had at the club in our first transfer window. At the start of the second season, there is a major sale, but our first one was Aaron Cresswell, who actually left on a free. We decided not to extend his contract, so he is gone. He's gone to Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga. Good luck to him. He's been a great servant for West Ham over the years, but I've decided to go in a slightly different direction to try and lower the age of the squad. At the age of 33, I didn't feel like giving him a new deal, so Cresswell has gone. Next, we let Angelo Ogbonna go, another one where he was of an age where I wasn't ready to give him a new deal. Sociedad offered him a contract, and we thought, you know what, we'll let him leave on a free. He did play quite a lot for us last season, starting 19 league games, so we do need to replace him in that sense. But yes, if I do sell any of your favourite players in this rebuild, I do apologise, but we need to do what we got to do, and one of the transfers was taken out of our hands, but we still had another free sale, and that was Manuel Lanzini, a player who's been around West Ham for years, it feels like. Yeah, he's been here for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons as a West Ham player, and was actually quite good for us last year, but only played a part really off the bench. Again, another one where I didn't really want to hand him a new contract, and he has also gone to Real Sociedad on a free deal, but the time was up for him at the club. He wasn't usually fit as well. He had a few injury problems, so Lanzini has gone. The first sale that earned us any money was Mikel Antonio leaving the club for £625,000. I know he's someone that's done great for West Ham over the years, but as far as this rebuild is concerned, he played 5 times for his last season. As far as FM goes, Skamaka's a better striker, Danny Ings is a better striker, and for that reason, Antonio was getting no game time, so we decided to cash in. He has gone to Galatasaray out in Turkey for 600k. Young Brazilian centre-back Luziao was not a player that I was aware of being at West Ham, but apparently he was here. It looks like West Ham signed him for a free very recently. He wasn't part of my plans. He doesn't show as having that much potential, so we let him leave for £4.5 million to Bordeaux. I think that's actually pretty good business considering we got him for a free, didn't play him at all, and then next season turned it round into a £4 million sale. We'll certainly take it, but he was by no means our biggest sale this summer. Vladimir Kufal also left the club. The Czech right-back was a phenomenal player for West Ham in that first season when they bought him. The second season, he also did pretty well, but for us this year, despite playing a lot of games, I just didn't feel like he was the man that I wanted at the back. That contract was also getting low as well, and I didn't really feel like handing him a new deal. We offered him out to see if there was any interest, and Wolves came in for 11 million, and I just thought, you know what, a player who's got, it was a year or so left on his deal if I remember right, at the age of 30, we'll take £11 million for him. I'm sure he'll be great for Wolves and he will be a miss in our team. We've got to take money where we can to reinvest into our squad and try and lower the age. You can see the players we've got rid of have all been older players. I want to bring some more youth into this team to hopefully lead us to glory, not just straight away, but as the years go by. But the big sale was one that was taken out of our hands. I wouldn't have wanted to do it myself. I'd like to have kept him here for the full rebuild, but Bayern Munich came in for Declan Rice and it was pretty much impossible to convince convince him to hang along any longer. We've got £75 million for him, and actually, he played a lot last year, but he wasn't necessarily phenomenal. Maybe he didn't suit the tactic that I chose for us, but 75 mil is certainly nothing to turn our nose up at. The fact that he's an important player at Bayern Munich of all clubs goes to show you we were kind of riding our luck anyway, still having him here at West Ham, but time is up on his career. He's gone over to Bayern Munich. I'm sure he'll do well, but thankfully we've made a nice amount for him there, 75 million. Goodbye Declan Rice, but we managed to reinvest it into our squad. Plenty, and I mean plenty of transfers have came in, so I'll try and go through them quite quickly. A new right back to back up Ben Johnson at right back is going to be Agustin Guillay, an Argentinian who was playing for San Lorenzo, did really well, came up on the scout reports. We've got him for about half of the fee that we made from selling Kufal, who was 30. Guillay is 19 with plenty of potential and valued at around 20 million. Hopefully he can grow in that right back slot and be a good player for us. Good going forward, and our new backup right back. We needed some extra bodies in midfield, in my opinion, so I went for Marcus Antonio, the Brazilian central midfielder, joins us from Lazio for £8.5 million. He joined them from Shakhtar. He didn't play too much for Lazio, but our scouts seemed to think he would be a great choice. I had a look at him and I thought, you know what? He could be a good squad player for us as this rebuild goes on. We then spent £11.5 million on a new backup left back, signing Dualda Guindo, and apologies if I've butchered that pronunciation, but he's a Mali international with 4 appearances for them already at the age of 20. He's cost us £11.5 million, coming off a very good season for RB Salzburg out in Austria. Obviously a team that have produced plenty of good young talents, and hopefully Guindo can be one of those for the club. He comes in to basically take Aaron Cresswell's place as the backup behind Emerson at left back, but I do think he could grow to be a first teamer for sure. He's currently a squad player. I definitely think he'll be a regular starter as the years go by. Plenty of talent, plenty of ability, but also plenty of potential, and that's what we're trying to get in this team now. But one of my favourite players that we've signed so far, someone that I think is a real coup for the club, we beat Borussia Dortmund and also Tottenham to the signing of Josip Sutalo, a Croatian international with 12 international appearances already, coming in from Dinamo Zagreb after a phenomenal season as well for £15 million. I think that's great business. He takes Ogbona's place as that centre-back that's going to partner up with Kurt Zouma at the back. 6'3", tall, quick, strong, good in the air, decent passing range as well, a good tackler. There's not too much more you could want from a centre-back. I think he's probably our best signing of the window, a big fan of his, and someone that I think can play at centre-back for us for another 10 years, no issue. The only thing that will happen is he moves on to an even bigger club than us, because I just think he's a phenomenal player and one of the best we could have picked up in his position. But there's still 3 more signings to go through yet, and 3 that I think are very good talents. Our next one, it was Astra Vranks, a player from Wolfsburg with plenty of potential who can play a lot of midfield roles and is very versatile. He was on loan at Milan, didn't play much, he didn't play at all actually on his loan from Wolfsburg, but the scouts again were raving about him. £13 million was the valuation. We paid it, and I think it's a pretty good deal. Someone that's worth more than that already, has plenty of potential, a lot of ability as well. Hopefully a good squad player for us who can develop and again maybe sell on in the future or become a real Premier League talent in our ranks. But speaking of Premier League talent, Southampton got relegated, and I thought, you know who we need. If we've lost Declan Rice, we need another English midfield talisman to rally our team around, and James Ward-Prowse had to be that guy. A poor season from him actually last year, but Southampton did go down, so I'm not too bothered. He was in a pretty poor team, and we paid £15 million to sign him. A lot of ability, obviously brilliant on the set pieces, really hard working as well. There's not too much more you can want from a midfielder. He can play a lot of roles. He's going to score free kicks for fun. James Ward-Prowse is in, and I think he could actually suit a West Ham shirt. And with the money that we had left over, and it was still a pretty big chunk because we got a nice transfer budget, we sold a few players, and the Declan Rice money all contributed to us being able to sign a lot of the players you've just seen for £10, £15 million or so. But this one took up the majority of our budget. It's Amine Ghiori of Rennes out in France. After a brilliant year for them, we have paid £40 million to sign him, and I think it can rise to 42.5 if I remember correct. He wanted to join the club. I thought he'd be a great player for us, both as a striker and also as an inside forward on that left-hand side. A brilliant finisher, great all-around ability, and hopefully a future French international if he can really settle at the club. Even though it's a lot of money, I think it's certainly going to be worth it. An important player for us. Hopefully in season 2 he can contribute. But with that being done, that's the biggest transfer window I'm sure we're going to have in this video. Apologies if it took quite a while, but there we go. We are sorted, and our best 11 currently, if we were picking without restriction, would be Areola in goal. Fabianski has left the club now on a free. Ben Johnson has been picked at right back with Zuma, Sutalo and Emerson. Obviously fullbacks look like they might need an upgrade, but remember, we have signed Guindo and also Guiai as backup young players to hopefully take the places of these players eventually. Ward-Prowse, Paqueta and Souček in the midfield. That's a pretty decent midfield, mind you, with Bowen, Giori and Skamaka up top. I think we're certainly taking this club places, and hopefully we can prove that in season 2. Let's see how we perform. Hopefully we can live up to expectation and crack in to that top 6. And it's not been the world's best season for us actually. Carabao Cup, a third round exit to Man U, knocked out of the FA Cup by Newcastle in the quarters, and then the Europa League, Nice took us out in a round of 16 with a 1-0 extra time win. They then went on to go and win the competition, so maybe not as bad as I thought, but we finished in 8th place in the Premier League, despite, I think, having more wins than last season and more points. It wasn't enough to get us in, not even to that 7th spot. Even Crystal Palace and Brentford finished above us. We did finish ahead of Newcastle and Tottenham, but we're sitting here in 8th place. Plenty of other London sides above us. It's not been the best of years, even though Brentford had a -3 goal difference and we had an 11 goal difference. They still ended up with 2 more points than us. We were only a few points off getting that 6th place spot, but it wasn't to be for us this year. That will mean though we're in no European football next season, and maybe that could benefit us in the league. But as far as this season goes, I'd certainly say this one wasn't a success. And if you go to the club vision, the board are still pretty happy with us because we are finishing in the top half of the league, but I'd like to see a bit more from us. But obviously, like we said, it was a young squad, so hopefully they'll keep developing. In terms of our top performers, it looks like Skamaka scored 27 goals in 35 appearances in all comps. Giori getting 16 in 41. Nice to see his transfer worked out. Emerson, Souček, Paqueta all doing well for us. Outside of that, we might need some better performances. Jared Bowen as well, not doing great across the course of the season. But the squad is young, it's developing. If we have a look at the age of the squad now, you can see there's a lot more young talent in there, a lot more players with potential as well, so hopefully that'll bode well for the future. But now it's time for season 3's transfers, which hopefully will be able to take us up a level into those European spots. If you are enjoying the video, smash the like button for us, and let's get in to our transfers. We started off by letting Alphonse Areola go. Sheffield United came in. We've bought someone to replace him anyway, and I didn't really see him as the long-term option in goal, so he has left. A French international with 3 appearances, but last season he wasn't all that great. He was fine, but he now leaves to go to Sheffield United for $6.5 million. We'll take it and we'll reinvest it. We've also lost Kurt Zuma. He's not someone that I really wanted to sell, but PSG came in for him of all clubs, and you know what it's like when that kind of club comes along for a player, particularly a French player as well. Zuma just wanted to go. There was no way we could have kept him without upsetting the whole squad. They've paid 30 million for him, so we get the money back that West Ham paid to Chelsea. So it's not the end of the world. He was good for us last year, but we will need to recruit to replace him. I think we did a decent job of it, but Kurt Zuma has left us, unfortunately. Flynn Downs has also left the club. He's a player that West Ham had signed from Swansea, but he wasn't playing too much for us, and I thought, you know what, we'll cash in on him. I don't really see why we've got him. So he's gone for £4 million to Nottingham Forest, some extra funds in the bank, but with the amount of midfielders we had, he was getting nowhere near the team. It was a similar situation for former Burnley player Maxwell Cornet, who West Ham had signed but wasn't really playing all that much for us, particularly last year. We make most of our money back in a sale to the Bundesliga, where he has gone to join Mainz. Started 5 times last year, 11 times off the bench, only got 1 goal and 1 assist. He's not someone we're particularly worried about losing. Obviously a decent player, but I think we've got better at the club now. now. And it's a similar case for Pablo Fornals, who's another one where he's obviously talented, he's obviously decent, and wasn't doing the worst job in the world for us when he did play the odd game, but I just didn't really see too much of a future for him. There was interest in him as well. Aston Villa came in for 15.75 million, and I'm not going to turn my nose up at it. We took the money, and again, we reinvested it. Another player that leaves, I know he's been around here for a few years now, Fornals, but he's just never really kicked on to the level that I thought he could have done, and his playing time is only going to dwindle as time goes on, so we've sold him and cashed in. And our final notable sale was Nikola Vlasic, who was a player that was on loan in our first year, I believe, out at Torino. He didn't do too great there. He then came back to us, played a lot of his football off the bench, and again, didn't contribute too much, so when I found out there was even some interest in him, I thought, again, we've got to take it. He had a decent valuation as well. £14 million is the fee that we get for him. It looks like his transfer valuation is pretty much the same at Monaco as well, so I think we sold him for a reasonable fee. He leaves us side, and with all of that money plus our transfer budget, we were able to bring some decent players in. The first one was our new goalkeeper to replace Areola, who we sold in goal, and we have gone for Elia Caprile, a player who starts at Bari out in the Serie B in Italy, but then moved on to Napoli in the first division of Italy. He only played 4 times for them last season, but had a 7.22 average match rating, and because of that, I think he decided he wanted to leave. Maybe he assumed he would be the first choice goalkeeper, but he was available for transfer. The scouts recommended him really highly. Out of the few goalkeeping options he had, he was the one that impressed me the most. Being so young with potential as well, a future international Italy goalkeeper possibly, I thought, you know what, we'll go for him. Good attributes, 6'3", plenty of potential. We have signed him for £17 million. We made some money from Areola, so it kind of works itself out to be a pretty good bit of business in my eyes. He's now in the net, and I'm sure he will be for the next 10 years or so. With Cornet and Vlasic leaving, we needed a bit of extra attacking talent, but in particular, I wanted someone to back up Jared Bowen on the right-hand side, so we have found Brazilian 19-year-old Angelo. £25 million was the release clause for the Brazilian. I'm sure he's going to develop a lot, but he's already got plenty of technical ability and someone that's going to make fun of defenders in the Premier League, hopefully. Great flair, dribbling ability and technique. If he can combine that with some final product, we are going to have a phenomenal right-sided player. With the £30 million we made from Kurt Zouma, we needed a new centre-back, and we invested that £30 million into another French centre-back, this time though a 22-year-old instead of the 30-year-old Kurt Zouma, and it is Maxime Estevev, who we've signed from Montpellier. He's been decent out there, but again, another one where the scouts were just raving about the guy. They seemed to think he was the best option that we had. Most of the time in these rebuilds, I trust what the scouts say. I try not to use my prior knowledge of players before coming into it. So with that being said, the scouts say Estevez is good. We've gone for him, and I can see why. He's very, very strong. He's also got a lot of pace, and he's good in the air. He's also got nice passing ability. He's a left-footed centre-back, which I believe is something that we were lacking. So I think it makes sense. Again, we've paid about £30 million for him. I'm happy to have him on board, and I think he could be a great player for us to partner up with Sutalo at the back. And our final signing was a player I'm very happy to have. He comes in as one of the best talents at the club. It is Enzo Lefy of Lorient. He is signed for £30 million after 2 very good years for them in the top division of France. I'm really happy to have him. 24 years of age, plenty of years to play at the prime of his game just yet. A fantastic passer of the football, also a brilliant dribbler, set piece ability, decent physical and mental attributes as well, very consistent, and someone that comes in as a real star in our side. I think he's going to lead the line in this West Ham team and be like the gem in the middle of our team, if you will. I'm very happy to have him on board. He cost us £30 million, and I think that's a good deal for sure. So we spent quite a lot of money in this rebuild. We've also made a lot from transfers, and now our team is looking like this. If we pick our best 11, has it changed all that much? Let's find out. Here you go. It's apparently Caprile in goal with Sotalo, Aguerd, Emerson and Johnson at the back, Marcus Antonio, Ward-Prowse and Enzo Lefy, with Angelo Giori and Jared Bowen as the forward line. I actually think the team doesn't look as good as it did before, but with Ward-Prowse and Enzo Lefy in midfield, there's a lot of talent there to hopefully create plenty, and I mean plenty of chances for whether it's Giori or Skamaka up front. So hopefully they'll do the job. Let's simulate season 3, and maybe this time we can crack that top 6. And we've done more than crack the top 6. We've ended up in 3rd place, qualifying for Champions League football, winning 23 matches out of our 38 and only losing 8 games. 76 points on the board, clearly in 3rd place, no one near us, and actually not too far off 2nd either. I think we're pretty secure in that 3rd place spot. 7 7 points away from anyone above us and 10 points away from anyone below us. Skamaka was our top goal scorer with 16 goals, and that is brilliant. Clearly not having European football has helped us out a hell of a lot, and now we are there in third place, ready to compete in the Champions League next season, which will hopefully give us some more pulling power as well in the transfer market. In terms of the cups, knocked out in the 5th round by Villa, knocked out in a semi-final by Man U in the Carabao, so it's not the worst performances in the world, but we've not really got close to winning any of those competitions just yet. The club are very happy with where we're at. The facilities do need some work, but they're not terrible, and the staff situation, as you can tell, is getting a lot better. But let's have a look at our top performers this year. Who were the men that we relied upon? Well, Skamaka scored 23 goals in his 40 appearances, which is good to see. Ben Johnson played a lot and did well for us. Enzo Laffi was fantastic across the course of the season. Souček still going strong, as is Giori, Ward-Prowse, Antonio, Estevez, Paqueta, Capriel. All of these players doing well for us. It looks like the likes of Danny Ings and Ben Rama aren't doing as well as some of the others, so maybe there's some players that we can look at selling. But the club is doing really well now. We've qualified for a Champions League. The fear of relegation is well and truly gone, and we're heading into our final 2 seasons now, and hopefully we can pick up some silverware along the way. At the very least, we could just keep qualifying for the Champions League. I'd be very happy with that. Obviously, if we make the knockout stages, that'll be exceptional. We'll see how we get on, but there we go, that's season 3 done. Let's move on to our season 4 transfers. As always, we'll start off with the sales. Thilo Kehrer has left to join Brentford. We got £10 million for him. He was a bit part player last year, only starting 5 matches in the league, a backup centre-back. He wanted to go. We were happy to let him go, so he moves on to Brentford for 10 million. Emerson has left to join Wolves. They signed Kufal from us a few years ago. Now they've signed Emerson, £7.25 million for him. He was good last year, Emerson, at left back. He did a decent job, but I think it's time now we bring in some more quality, so he's left to Wolves. And the other main sale was Saeed Benrahma. When Norwich came in and offered 12 million, even though it was under his valuation, I thought, you know what, let's just take it. He started 2 times for us last season, never really hit the heights a lot of people expected from him when he left Brentford. I mean, he was good for us in the first year of this rebuild, then after that started to dwindle out a bit, and it's got worse and worse as time has gone on. So we'll definitely take that 12 million and we can reinvest that into some much better players for our team, I think. And that's what we went for. Our first signing at centre-back to replace Thilo Kehrer was Nico Schlotterbeck, who was transfer listed at Dortmund for £22 million. I don't know why, I don't know what's gone on, but I wasn't asking questions. He's a German international and he's a good player, a very good player in my eyes. At 25 as well, a left-footed centre-back. And it looks like, based on the price we paid for him, it was a pretty good fee because his transfer valuation is higher. He's getting towards the prime of his career as well, so I'm happy to have him on board. We needed a bit of extra depth on the wings with Benrahma leaving, so I've decided to go for Jota, a player who plays for Celtic and has been doing amazingly well for them. Obviously, Celtic are a very dominant team in their division, so scoring goals and assists for them isn't as crazy as it would be at another club, but it's incredible average match ratings. He's been consistent throughout his 3 years. We paid £29 million for Jota, and I think hopefully he is going to be a star player, able to play on both wings for us, and he's also good with both feet. Comes in as a squad player, but someone that I know for sure could do a great job for us. The Portuguese under-21 former international, 26 years of age now. It's his time to shine in the Premier League. Our first new gen player that we've signed in this rebuild is Welsh under-21 striker Jamie Evans, an 18-year-old who comes in as our backup this year. He's cost us £18 million from Fulham, comes into the club, and I'm hoping he can take in Danny Ings' place as getting those minutes behind Skamaka and Giori as that backup rotation striker who can get way better as the years go on. And our final signing was Mickey van der Ven of Wolfsburg, who we've paid £17.5 million for. He's played a bit part over there for them, but our scouts seem to rate him as a left-back option. And I didn't really see him there at first when I signed him, but I do think he could do a good job there. He also offers us cover at centre-back as well. I just thought he'd be a good player to have. Whether he'll take up that starting role at left-back is another question. We'll see, but that is our transfer business done. I think we've got a really nicely balanced squad now. Plenty of players in each position of the pitch. If we look at our best 11, it is now Capriel in goal with Schlotterbeck, Sutala, who Ward-Prowse at right-back apparently does not seem right to me, but hey-ho, Van der Ven, Marcos Antonio, Enzo Laffi, Paqueta, Jota, Giori, and Bowen. It's a very talented squad. The ability is much more spread around the pitch instead of just having Bowen, Zuma, and Rice really as our talented players. Now we've got players everywhere that can do the job for us. If you look at the squad planner, you can get the kind of idea of what I'm going for here in terms of depth. I'll just quickly scroll along to any of you who want to check. Maybe right back is an option we need to improve next year, we'll see. But there's options in every position at the club. We've got depth options and also backup younger options that can get better as time goes on. You can see we've got a nice balance as well. No area is too overloaded with players, so I'm very happy with the way this is going. But let's see how we can do in the Champions League. Season 4 after this, 1 season left. Can we pick up any trophies, or is that Conference League title the only thing that we're going to win? And it's another season with no silverware, but I can't be too annoyed at it. Obviously the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, getting knocked out in the third round of both isn't very good at all, especially when you look at the teams that knocked us out. But what I will say this year is we went into the Champions League, into the group phase. We did really well, winning 5 games out of our 8, beating the likes of PSG and Napoli in there. We then go on to the round of 16 and we're unfortunately knocked out, but only by 1 goal by AC Milan. So it was a decent performance. We actually made the Champions League knockouts and we'll be in the Champions League again next year because we finished in 5th, and it seems like the top 5 teams have all been handed a Champions League place this time around. I don't know the exact reasons behind why, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth here. We are finishing in 5th place with 19 wins, 12 losses, and a goal difference of 19 isn't great. Scamacca starting to ease off the goals, it seems, because Giori is now our top goal scorer in a few competitions, but 64 points is nice and impressive. Not as good as our previous years, but we'll certainly take it. A 5th place finish in that top 6 yet again. It's exactly what we wanted to do with West Ham here, become a big part of that top 6, top 4, consistently get Champions League football, and it's the second year in a row that we're going to be there. And hopefully in the final season we can kick on and maybe, you know, get to a quarter-final or something like that of the Champions League, maybe push for a cup and try and finish in the top 4 of the Prem. When it comes to our top performers, Paqueta was great yet again, as was Scamacca and Giori. Jota and Estevez doing well for us as well. Ward-Prowse, Souček, Enzo Lafay, all still in there. At this point, we've forgotten about Declan Rice. We've got new heroes at the club, and hopefully in Season 5, someone can really write their names in the annals of West Ham history, become a legend, and win as a competition. Let's go see who we can bring in to help out with that. And there was only one major sale this summer, and it was Gianluca Scamacca, of all people, who has left the club. He's gone to join Atletico Madrid. Now, he didn't force a move by any stretch, but they offered 27 million. We looked at it objectively and I thought that would be good money. We could reinvest it into a new striker. And realistically, Giori is the man who's been taking the role up front recently, not Scamacca. He's also scored 1 goal in 12 appearances for the Italian national team, and he's never had a 20-goal season for us in the league just yet, and I felt like another striker might be able to. So we looked at the deal and I thought, you know what? We'll take it. So we decided to let him go. He's gone to Atletico Madrid. Hopefully he'll do well there, but we've cut ties and we've signed someone else. Whether he's an upgrade, I'm not too sure. We just had to assess the market and bring in the best option that we could. But time was up with Scamacca. We took the money and we reinvested. And it might be seen as a strange transfer, but I've gone for another Italian forward, Moise Kean, as our replacement here. Obviously, he's been playing here and there for Juventus in this simulation and doing decently well, but the scouts seem to rate him quite a lot. He's a consistent player, good physically as well. I'm not sure whether it's going to work. We spent a lot of money. He was £42.5 million to sign him. Hopefully he can do well and justify the transfer fee, but we'll see. His transfer value is higher than what we paid, so I think we've done okay there. But we also made one other big signing. We're trying to focus on quality over quantity here, and we have gone for French international Brandon Soppy, who is a right back who can also play left back. He was signed from Atalanta for 45 million after some good seasons out there. Again, he's got a high transfer valuation, he's got good ability. I think we have been needing a right back for a while, and I think Soppy could be the man to do the job for us. So he comes in, we're happy to bring him in, and it is now all done. Our transfer business in this rebuild is finished. We've got one more season to see how we get on. This is apparently our best 11. Capriel, Estevez, Sotalo, Van der Ven, Ward-Prowse, Antonio Paqueta, Lafay, Bowen, Jota and Giori. Only Bowen and Paqueta surviving in that first 11 from the squad that we initially inherited here. We've still got Souček at the club, Ben Johnson at the club, Aguerd is also at the club, but other than that, most of these players are new signings. A lot of them do have interest from other clubs, so hopefully they can perform well this year. One final season to complete this rebuild. How we do? I'm going to holiday ahead to the final date, the 31st of May, and hopefully we can have a really good final year. And it's a bit of a mixed bag this year. I'm certainly going to take it considering what we were expected to do at the start of this rebuild. The Carabao Cup we never got close to winning, but we did manage to win the FA Cup this year, beating Leeds 1-0 in the final. So we've managed to win the FA Cup. We're very happy to have that under our belt. The other thing to note though is 6th place in the Premier League, which isn't terrible at all, 67 points, only losing 9 games. Actually our points total was good and we were only a few points off second, so it can't be too disappointing. But we're not going to be in the Champions League next year, but it doesn't matter too much to me right now because we ended up getting to the semi-finals of the UCL, which is massive for a club like West Ham. We got knocked out by Liverpool, who ended up winning the competition, but we only just got knocked out with a 7-6 aggregate loss, losing 6-2 at home at the Olympic Stadium. We know what Liverpool are like with comebacks in the Champions League, but that was a little bit gutting. We came so close, but we knocked out the likes of Arsenal apparently in the quarter-final. We knocked out Atalanta in the round of 16. In the league phase, who did we take on? We managed to beat Barcelona, Marseille, Shakhtar, Olympiacos, and did it all looking very, very impressive whilst we won those games. So I'm very happy with that performance. If you'd offered a West Ham fan Champions League semi-finals in 5 years, they'd certainly take it, I'm sure. The FA Cup is ours. We're in the Europa League next season, and hopefully we can float around this top 6, top 4 as the years go by. But as far as our rebuild is concerned, we are done here at West Ham. I think we've done a good job. I would have liked to improve the facilities a little bit more, but other than that, we are in a great place. But I do think we've done a lot with this club in terms of lowering the age of the squad, bringing in some better quality players, and we've set them up for the future as well with some of the younger players we've signed. The staff situation is way better than what we inherited, which is awesome, and I think overall the club is flying. We've got players coming out left, right and centre in the dev centre that I haven't really used too much. We apparently have a Premier League level fullback. He's not too bad. We probably should have used him during this rebuild. But I'm very happy with how this has gone. I think it's been a successful one, and it's a far cry from the relegation battle that West Ham are in real life. But now let me know in the comments down below who you want to see rebuilt next. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.